welcome back to Beyond the Box Office, episode 3, and we have a fucking awesome episode for you. My name is Bam Sam. I'm your host. With me again this week is Loz. Say hello, Loz.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, and Steve. Say hello, Steve.
Hello, but I'm not happy about being fucking third. What the fuck? I've fallen down the pecking order. What am I? Am I Jurassic Park 3? No, didn't think so. Anyway, yes, hello, people out there.
It's going in alphabetical order. Bam, Sam, Loz, and Steve.
Fuck you. Fuck you and your logic.
Right, so, yeah, as I said, we've got an awesome episode lined up. As well as the usual news and reviews, etc., we have it's not an exclusive, a very special interview with Steve.
Fry. That's right, Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
And Speed. And Twister. And Spin City.
And Star Trek Generations!
Yeah. No, yeah. We're lucky enough that he agreed to come on and chat with us for a while, so we'll stick that in the pod, so you'll hear that shortly, and we'll have a little discussion about it after, and then move on. So, right, before we get started, we have a Twitter account now, which is at Box Office Beyond, and also we have a YouTube channel, which was just Steve's one, and we changed the name, so just search Beyond the Box Office on YouTube, and we still haven't got a website, but we're working on it. Okay, so news. Who wants to go first? Anyone?
Did everyone just step back behind the line like, no.
Everyone was like, have I got news? Or
There's not a lot of news out there, to be honest. There's some there's some bits and pieces. I managed to find 2 things I was interested in.
Yeah. The reason I asked you first was because I was like, I didn't have any, and I'm like, wow, what's happened in the last time?
It is pretty bland out there. Obviously, with all the summer films coming out right now, most things aren't news because they've already been released. And even things like Guardians of the Galaxy, which, Lawrence, you want to talk about later on, there's not obviously news. But one thing that did break this week was Superman's new suit and the new title for Terminator 5, formerly Terminator Genesis.
It's not Terminator. Have they confirmed it as being called the Terminator?
No.
But did you not see what I wrote to you? Where were them pictures from? It was it was
the expo, wasn't it? It's the licensing expo.
Yeah, but they do. It's not. That's not the name of the new film. That's just for the licensing expo. They're just saying this is a property that's coming in 2015 or whenever.
I honestly wouldn't be so sure on it, because think about it, right? Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa.
It's just
First Blood. Rambo First Blood Part 2. Rambo 3.
Yeah, but it's also, you got to think it's a licensing expo, which means there's going to be a shit ton of Terminator games and that. So, they're just putting out the Terminator name. Just like they did last year when they full well knew it was going to be called Jurassic World. They stuck the Jurassic Park 2015 one. They stuck the Fast and Furious 2014, even though it got pushed back because of the unfortunate death of Paul Walker. But it's just a licensing expo. It's, unless a name's 100% confirmed down on paper, they're not going to spend all this money promoting it at the licensing expo when the name could potentially change.
Well, I don't know. I mean, okay, the fact is that we've been running with the thought that Terminator 5 be called Terminator Genesis, and now suddenly we get this massive post that's Terminator 2015, and this raises massive questions, as I said, because is it like Rambo? I mean, and if it is Terminator, where do I place it in my DVD collection? Do I put it before the Terminator, after Terminator Salvation, Terminator 2? What is going on with this? I'm happy that it's not Terminator Revenge of the T-800 or some shit. But, because I'm sick and tired of cliche bullshit like Resurrection, Revenge, Rise of the Planet of the Terminators or something. Actually, that's a good one.
But this is the thing, it wasn't, no sort of mainstream sites reported it. It was all sort of, second-rate sites and nothing blogs like Rewind that reported it.
Sorry.
It's just like they're posting the name of the franchise.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Terminator. We got the franchise coming out, so it's gonna be awesome.
A new product in the franchise will be available in 2015.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'll put...
Because it's a Terminator license.
I will put a whole pound right now that basically this film is going to be called Terminator.
I just choked because you wrote a whole pound on it.
I reckon one whole...
That's about £1.48, isn't it, for American listeners? $1.48 for American.
One whole Starship Troopers, I know, futuristic credit pound, Demolition Man, you've been fined one credit that it will be called Terminator. I guarantee it will be called Terminator.
Would you like
It can't be, because isn't the first one the Terminator? Isn't that too close to it? Like, it seems just...
Yeah, but you say that about Rambo, but it wasn't called Rambo, was it? It was called First Blood.
Yeah, it's First Blood. It was First
Rocky
Blood.
was
Rambo.
Rocky, and Rocky Balboa is Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, but I reckon they're going to call it Terminator.
No, bullshit.
They will be the Terminator, Terminator 2, then just Terminator, because no one counts Rise of the fucking shit and Salvation.
Salvation's good.
Yeah, it's alright, but it's not a Terminator film. It has Terminators in it.
Okay, so finish with your little rant, or anyone got any news? Because other than sort of just new images and new trailers, sort of like a 10-second extended version of the trailer we've already seen of films, you know, there is actually nothing. There's been no major confirmations of new films and things like that.
No, I mean nothing other than obviously Superman's like latest suit kind of like leaked picture from Zack Snyder. I really am liking where Zack Snyder is going with this franchise. He's really taken, I mean, it's a risk. He's definitely taking a risk, but he's really differentiating himself, setting himself apart from Marvel, going, no, we're going down this more artistic look, this more 300 Sin City stylized look, a bit like Tim Burton went, yeah, okay, you see Batman in the 60s, this is my Batman now. Zack Snyder's going for that with, obviously, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Mm.
I like it.
Lars, you got any news you want to bring up? Well,
no, not really. I saw some new shots for the Sin City new movie. That looks like it's going to be quite good.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's about as far as it goes. As far as trailers go, like I said, I only watched really the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, and that looks like it's going to be a pretty fun, good movie coming out.
Yeah. It could go either way, but you know, fingers crossed it doesn't go the bad way. So
I don't see it going the bad way. 100% Guardians of the Galaxy is going to fucking rock beyond belief, because they've taken a property, a comic book series, a bunch of characters who no one's ever heard of, realistically, outside of like the real inner comic community. And what I'm seeing from this film, fucking hell, this is going to blow my fucking tits off.
Yeah.
It should be good. Yeah.
Steve, what trailers have you seen this week?
Oh, trailers I've seen this week. Well,
new trailers.
Well, I saw a trailer for Premature. It's already out now, and basically it's like Groundhog Day, but instead of like dying and waking up the next day, all you have to do is orgasm and you wake up and back in the same day. So
it's like Edge of Tomorrow, edging for tomorrow.
If you take the concept from Groundhog Day, Mystery Spot, Edge of Tomorrow, but change it to a teenage boy at high school, and every time he comes, he wakes up, repeating the same day over and over.
Does it have Heat of the Moment on the radio?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. But if you watch the trailer, they have really played this premise out to the most hilarious effect they could get from it. It's so cringeworthy to the point where he's actually running away from bullies, and to get out of being beaten up, he drops his pants and starts jacking off in one of the classrooms. And the bullies run in and are like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's just like, oh, come, and then back and avoids.
I've got to be watching that after.
This is it's an independent film. It's like a Sundance kind of festival, kind of comedy. It's got Alan Tudyk. Tudyk.
Like that.
Yeah, from Firefly, and it just looks the perfect way to give another take on the whole repeating the same day over and over again kind of concept. It had me absolutely cracking up. I mean, if you don't like cringeworthy comedy, avoid it like the plague. If you love awkward situations, especially if you have ever been or are a teenage boy, you've got to see this.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I've not really trailers, but I mean, obviously the World Cup has been on, and fucking ITV. What was the game yesterday? Argentina, Holland. But
Yeah.
just advertising the fuck out of Rise of the. Is it Revenge
What?
of the Rise of Beneath the Planet of the Apes or whatever? It's got such a long name. I can't remember.
Not.
What is it? No, what is it?
How-
It's not Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That was the first one.
It's the dawn of the rise of the.
See, no one can remember.
Dude, seriously, what was your title again?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. No, mine was the Rise.
What are the rights of Beneath the Planet? That is like every title from the original
Exactly, I
Charlton
couldn't
Heston
remember.
run rolled into one. It's just Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
It's just too much for a title.
Well, not really,
Dawn
because
of the planet.
Yeah, well,
it's Planet of the Apes. So already you have 4 words that have to be included in the title. And it is because you had Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's not a terrible title. It looks like a fucking amazing film as well.
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. It looks so good.
Couldn't they just call it Dawn of the Apes?
DP2.
Because it's not like you're going to get it mixed up with any other movies, is it? It's not like you're going to look at it and go, oh, it's a new Terminator movie.
Couldn't they have just called it Planet of the Apes to fuck up Steve's DVD collection?
You can't call it anything other. You have to have Planet of the Apes involved because that is the main marketable title in this entire franchise. I mean, this franchise now is was it 4 or 5 films originally, animated series, and then
Mark.
No. I was about to say, and then that really good one with like James Franco and that, and we don't count that Tim Burton film. We don't count that.
It exists.
It doesn't exist. It
Right.
only exists if you believe it exists.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm on the Planet of the Apes.
Oh no, I'm on the Planet of the Apes. Marky Mark. And I talk like this. Everything sounds like a question.
Did
know
you see the Simpsons episode where they rip it off and it's the musical of the Planet of the Apes?
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas.
Right.
One last trailer quick was Earth to Echo. It actually looks amazing. Do you remember when like Jumanji came out? That was like a really great family kids film that kind of had modern special effects and kind of connected back to like more 80s style kind of kids films.
Yeah.
With characters and sort of story and the way it kind of flowed. Well, Earth to Echo.
There's none of that.
No, Earth to Echo looks like if you take like the digital generation, what they are now, we were like the analog generation. We were 8-bit, we had 16-bit, home computers, microcomputers, VCR, VHS tapes, that kind of stuff. Well, now with iPads and smartphones, this kind of looks like a film that's not cashing in like a piss poor Aliens in the Attic or some kind of shit like that. This looks like a really good kids film.
Is it found footage style?
It's found footage style, yeah. It's all because basically it's like if you take the Goonies, the Explorers, E.T., and Mac and Me. No, I shouldn't have said Mac and Me there, but if you take like the Goonies, the Explorers, E.T., Flight Navigator, all kind of that, and base it around the concept that this whole found footage is based on these kids' smartphones receiving sort of transmissions from outer space, and they find this little alien. Honestly, it looks so fucking good. This seriously could be the best kind of kids film. 80s kind of kids film, like for the modern audience. You know how J.J. Abrams tried to recreate that Spielberg kids kind of experience with I was going to say 8mm. Jesus Christ! No
wonder. A
wonder
bit of a wrong reference too, isn't it?
No wonder the kids didn't like that film. Yeah, with Super 8, this looks like it's going to be the genuine version. No kind of like nostalgia, just an actual full-on bang. This kid's going to love this.
I didn't mind Super 8.
It was alright. I had the same problem with a lot of films that get nowadays when you talk to people about them or look online, when people hype them up so much that when you finally see them, you know, you can't help but build your expectations up and you're let down.
Look, that's just because you were let down by...
Because everyone was like, it's like a new Goonies. It's like the Goonies. It's this generation's Goonies. And I was like, it was nothing like the fucking Goonies. No. How dare you? No.
What, like how every single fucking sci-fi film has on the poster the new Star Wars?
Yeah. Like makes Jurassic Park look crap. Like Congo had something like that, wasn't it? It was like make Jurassic Park fucking like child's play. I don't think it was Congo actually. I'm getting it wrong because it was a Michael Crichton film. But there was a film. I'll find out for next show.
What? Oh, was it Deep Rising?
It might have been. So like makes Jurassic Park look like shit or something.
That might have been one of the taglines for Deep Rising actually. Which is a really good film. I really enjoy that.
The last trailer I watched, I don't want to bring... No, it wasn't Deep Rising. It might have been like Anaconda or something. Now, the last trailer that I watched, I don't want to go into too much because it might put Loz into a 45-minute tangent again, is The Maze Runners, which is... I didn't know, but he said straight away when we talked about it before that it's based on a book. And it's for that the I Am Number 4 / Hunger Games / Twilight audience. And it just soon as the trailer comes on, it just reeks of it, doesn't it? Just you can smell the what do you call it? What did you say? The froth.
Yeah, you can smell the froth coming out of women.
It does look absolutely awful. Parts of it actually remind me I don't know. This guy has that teen horribleness to it. It's like new, like you say, the Twilight and the Host and Hunger Games take on like. Do you remember the film '94 film No Escape?
Oh, fucking hell. It rings a bell.
Ray Liotta.
No. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it rings a bell.
Ernie Hudson. It seems to be that these kind of like teen films are. I mean, it's the new sort of like template, isn't it? It's like a new genre, but. Whereas, I think, in the 1980s, you had muscle men action films that were like, you know, every action film was a muscle man action film. Now, like, it seems every film is just this, you know, sparkly vampire douchebag.
I'm not going to talk about this because otherwise I'll rant. I've got strong opinions on this.
Do it.
Especially the whole book to film franchise.
Right, we're going to give you a minute to talk about it, and starting from now.
I can't. I won't be able to.
Go!
It's shit.
Go,
It shits me to tears. It absolutely shits me to tears. Because it seems like people can't make their own movies anymore, so they turn to 40-year-old women who have no life and decide they want to relive their life through a book, like Twilight. And then they post it out, and then all these people read it and think it's the most amazing thing, and then they make it into a movie. And okay, the book may have been okay, and then the movie is just wank. And they just grab all these shit actors that no one knows, stick them in a movie, and expect girls to just froth over it because it's got that title of the book. And then all it is to sell fucking shit. My wife used to work in a game shop. When Twilight came out, the whole shop was just ruled with shit from Twilight that you don't need. A necklace with Edward's symbol on it.
We should all get together and write a book and call it The Froth. Where it's like a bunch of teenagers get mystical powers or something.
Oh no, we could actually make a film like, it's called The Froth, but it's more like, you know, the stuff or the blob. It's just...
That'd be a good thing, you know, like the scene of it coming out the cinema, and you could have like now showing like Twilight.
But the thing is, like with a lot of these books, they start off quite good. Like my wife read a few. She's read Hunger Games and this one, Maze Runner, and she said it starts off alright, but she said the ending, it's like they haven't thought it through. They just sort of go, okay, how are we going to end it? Yeah, that'll do.
They can make endless sequels.
No. Yeah, I will have to argue back because you can't just criticise it for that because you have to go back and look at the past to really. Because if
we're going on a fucking tangent again over this film.
I'm just saying you can't just go, oh, this film's new, it fits into this genre and it's shit because blah blah blah, the ending blah blah blah. Stephen King
because it looks shit. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah, because Stephen King's one of the greatest authors of all time, but he can't fucking end a book to save his fucking life. It's just like, oh, tension, amazing. These kids in the corn. Oh fuck, it's an alien. Oh my god, it's a clown. Oh my god, it's scary as shit. Tim Curry. Oh my god. Fuck it, it's an alien.
Yeah. Well, they should have ended it before it got to the part where they're adults. That's for the movie I'm talking about.
Well, he definitely should end the story before he gets to the whole sort of death lights and that kind of. I mean, okay, I know they had trouble trying to bring his kind of novel to the screen and how to depict it and that kind of shit. But still, Stephen King still can't end. He can't end a book.
He makes a pimp-ass movie though.
What, like
Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah, I was about to say, well, like Maximum fucking Overdrive, whatever.
Fuck off, that's awesome.
But you got to remember as well, because like Running Man, that was based on a book.
The Running Man is such a good book, but the film is just. I know it's like 80s classic in inverted commas, but it is a shit film. The book is such a brilliant book. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's trailers. Right. Let's go around the table. I'm going to skip this one because I haven't watched anything new this week. I just rewatched Ferris Bueller and obviously Transformers. But I've also rewatched because I was watching them with my kids. Is the Indiana Jones films, the first three. I mean, fucking hell, them films are so good.
That's classics.
Yeah, exactly. They're just. The thing as well is that they're obviously because they're set in, they just don't look aged because
they're period pieces.
Yeah, period pieces are just so good. And we had the discussion the other day, didn't we? I don't know why Temple of Doom gets such a bad rep. I think, as we were saying, when it was just stupid fucking internet bloggers who just want to be like, oh, the Temple of Doom wasn't as good.
Well, I remember as a kid, I saw Temple of Doom. I think I saw it first, actually, on TV. And I loved it. I mean, the minecart, the bridge ending scene, it is brilliant. And yes, okay, I understand all the criticism levied at Temple of Doom for the endless screaming and and how they shoehorned in Short Round. And there's a lot of stuff in there that you can nitpick. But yeah, he's brilliant. Dr. Jones, no time for love, Dr. Jones.
I think it's because, although Raiders had its comedic moments in it, but it was quite a serious film. Like with the Nazi undertones and things like that. But Temple of Doom was a lot more fun, if you will. It was more of a roller coaster, and I think people just thought, it's not like the original, so I'll slag it off.
Which is funny because when it was released, everyone loved it because we hadn't become so cynical with these more over-the-top sort of sequels that we now come to expect. Like, when you have one film that starts off like The Matrix and then you get to The Matrix Reloaded, which I actually do fucking love, but it goes more over the top. Yeah, this did, and it went over the top, and some people now argue it went over the top in the wrong ways, but I think it's still solid. Yeah, okay, Kate Capshaw's fucking E.D., all that kind of crap. That's fine. But come on, watching that as a kid where he fucking bails out of a plane and uses a fucking inflatable dinghy. Yeah. That's brilliant!
Yeah.
And
so
I still can't...
not as bad. It's still not as bad as the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, I know.
We haven't got to that one yet. I'm gonna give it another chance.
Exactly, I was about to say. I can accept that Indiana Jones can jump out of a fucking plane on an inflatable life raft, but I can't accept the fridge scene.
No.
Right,
as Alan Ruck is about to say in the interview, coming up in a few minutes, suspension of disbelief.
Loz, have you watched anything new this week?
I have, actually. I watched The Impossible, which is the tsunami film about the tsunami that hit Thailand.
Yes, it's not nice saying it's a great film, but it's a touching film.
Yeah, it is. I never knew it was a Spanish film, to be honest. I thought it was a big American thing, but it's actually made in Spain. And then it went to the Toronto Film Festival, and then it sort of got released after that. But I remember watching it, and it was just full on, and it's not like, it doesn't focus on the white family who go travelling. They're just there for like the story, but when you see it, you see like all the locals who have lost everything, and they wade through the crap and just pull out whoever they can. It doesn't matter who it is, then they just help them out.
Well, that's the thing that's good about it, is, well, not good, but like that it shows you, like you always see tsunamis on the news and that, and it's just a water washing through. You don't see what's happening under that water, do you? And when it fucking hits, and it's showing her, she's getting beaten the fuck up, she's getting like impaled on stuff and everything under the water.
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
What kills people.
Yeah, it's true. When you see like news footage of like things like tsunamis, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't ever come across as dangerous. It kind of looks very calm. It's just that it's sheer pressure. And as you said, you don't see what's under the surface. It's not Bade. It's not, a disaster on the news hasn't got like fireworks going off, and it's, not got Aerosmith on the soundtrack to make it seem more impressive than it is. It's just terrifying, and I do like the idea of a film that doesn't have to focus on a cliched bunch of people to try and put you in the kind of perspective of the disaster. It's just actually a movie about the disaster.
And it's very well done. Ewan McGregor's one of my favourite actors anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So I got a bit of a boner over that, but it's solid movie, worth a watch.
Solid movie, solid cock.
I realised I just said solid cock about a movie where thousands of people die. So let's move on swiftly before. Sorry,
I didn't realise you were Michael Bay for a second there.
Steve, anything new?
Yes. Lots of things. There's loads of stuff. I mean, I've just been watching films non-stop. I mean, I saw, obviously, what I've been massively focused on to a point where actually I'm obsessed is Transformers Age of Extinction.
Right.
And now...
Don't spoil it, because...
I've now slagged off Michael Bay several times, but I've made a video, and I've also posted a blog article all about why Transformers Age of Extinction is actually the most perfect Transformers film in the entire franchise.
Okay.
It's simple. It's a stereotype of a blockbuster aimed to a new audience. They're not aiming at like the traditional markets. They're looking at China, and because China have actually already pumped in about 220 million into the box office, and America has only actually sort of done about 180 or something million. So China's a lot of fucking people. To product place to promote brand equity and to basically get bums on seats in the cinema. It's a fucking massive market now. And this film is a stereotype of a blockbuster. It's over the top, the action's massive, and it basically does, well, I mean, check out the argument, but to sum it up, it does exactly what Transformers was supposed to do from 1984 onwards. Sell shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I said to you, didn't I? Obviously, because Dark of the Moon had more, but I see a thing, because obviously I'll be bringing it up later, but Transformers Rise of the Revenge of the Fallen broke the record for most product placements in a movie, but then Dark Side of the Moon broke that, and I'm probably...
Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon. I'm tired. When I'm probably going to assume that the new one broke that record as well.
Well, yeah, I think it was Revenge of the Fallen had 71 clearly visible in your face. Well, no, sorry. Revenge of the Fallen had 71 clearly identifiable products placed within the film, or brands. Dark of the Moon, I believe, had 76 clearly visible and kind of placed, whereas Age of Extinction has God knows how many brands, to the point where certain scenes are micro advertisements for these brands. Mark Wahlberg picks up a Bud Light, cracks it open, drinks it, and throws it down in one little segment scene.
Picks up a Pepsi. It's a taste of a new generation.
Pretty much, no.
Wayne's World style.
It is. There are, whereas before, the guy's holding an Xbox in the first one and it turns into a Transformer. And there's the Mountain Dew vending machine that turns into a Transformer. That's very in your face, but not with actors standing there, holding the beer up, pausing for a second, going, oh, that's the taste of America. That's the taste of freedom.
Yeah, but what you were saying about the first ones, like the vending machine and things like that, and the Xbox, that's the point of the film, though, isn't it? Machines and robots.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
If it happened in this living room, my Xbox, my PlayStation, my Samsung TV, would all change,
Exactly.
You can't not product place these items.
Yeah, if you want to ground a film in the real universe, like the real world universe we live in now, you have to accept there's going to be some product placement, because I drive down the street and I see 30 lorry, people are kicking off about Spider-Man and sort of swinging past a Carlsberg truck. I drive past trucks with brand logos on the side of them every day. I go into my kitchen, and if you film me right now, there's no product placement. It's just, actually, there are brands that I've purchased, and they are in the background.
I've got 2 bottles of Bud Light sitting in front of me.
Oh yeah. And no one ever kicks up a fuss and had a go at in Superman 2 when Superman gets thrown into a Marlboro truck, or when he throws Zod into a Coca-Cola sign. It's just the
or in Mac and Me where he has the kids party.
Now that is when Mac and Me was the turning point when people did start to kick off about product placement, because that was when a film was no longer set in the real world with products behind it. It was basically promoting products as one giant cinematic commercial, and this is what Age of Extinction is. When Stanley Tucci, in one scene, he's on a rooftop waiting for rescue, and he's sitting there, and for no reason whatsoever, he goes to a refrigerator that is on this rooftop for no reason, opens it, and takes out a well-known Chinese brand. No, it's a well-known Chinese brand of milk. This is what I'm saying. It's crafted for China. They're deliberately doing a lot of product placement to tap into the Chinese market, as well as sell American brands across there. And he picks up this carton of milk, and he sits there, puts a straw in, and starts drinking it for a good 20-odd seconds. And I know 20 seconds doesn't sound a long time, but in the course of an action film, him sitting there drinking it, and then as his spaceship rises behind him, he kind of goes, uh-oh, as he looks around and draws a straw out. And it's just the whole shot is not focused on the $1 million special effects in the background, the bloody $1 million actor sitting in the chair. It's focused on this carton of milk, which he doesn't even hold like a normal person. When you hold something, you wrap your hand around it, don't you? So the back of your hand faces, if I was filming myself right now with a can in my hand, the back of my hand faces the camera. No, this carton of milk is basically held in the exact same way people drink cans of Pepsi and Coca-Cola and RC Cola in commercials. So you can see the logo.
Ran over?
Okay, good.
Yes.
Right, so you watch that.
I'm just gonna go and enjoy my Bud Light, the beer for podcasters around the world.
Good. Right. Yeah. So I think now will be a good time to include the interview with Alan Ruck, who you may know from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Speed, Twister, Spin City, as well as a load of other stuff. So Alan Ruck, everyone. So joining us on this episode, we have the legend that is Alan Ruck. So thanks for joining us, Alan. It's quite
I don't know, that's a lot to live up to, but hi.
You are a legend, don't be so modest. So, I mean, what we're going to do, we're just going to go sort of round the table. I mean, I know, we're all fans of your work anyway, so, we'll just shoot some questions and that and just have a chat. And so, I mean, what would probably be the best one to start off with was, what made you get into acting in the first place?
Oh, when I was a kid, I was not a good athlete, and I was a good student until puberty hit, and then I just couldn't concentrate on anything. And I didn't sort of, I wasn't one of the cool kids. I didn't have some sort of thing that gave me an identity. How kids define themselves by what they do. I didn't have any of that. My older sister had been in plays before me, and I'd watched her do it, and I always thought that that's something that I could do. And then when I got to high school, I wound up auditioning for a play, and I got in, and the feedback was good. And then in my high school, they actually had a drama program through the English department where you could take acting classes and play production classes. So I just started to load up my schedule with that kind of stuff. And pretty much from the time I was 15 on, I was like, oh, this is who I am. And it just, it was something I was good at, and it made me feel good about myself, and that's why I got into it.
Awesome. I mean, Steve, you got anything you wanna?
Well, yeah, obviously a massive fan of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and obviously you were friends with Matthew Broderick, and you did the Broadway production, am I right, of Biloxi Blues at the time, before the film?
That's right. Yeah, we had, we were in the middle of that. We were in New York. We had opened, and the play was a big success, and they had offered Hughes had offered Matthew the role of Ferris, and then my agent tried to get me an audition, and they said, oh, he's too old, which was really true. But then my agent said, well, he plays opposite Matthew every night, and they're both supposed to be teenagers, so you might want to rethink that. So then they agreed to see me, and the thing was that I knew John a bit because I had auditioned for the Breakfast Club some years before in Chicago. John had written the Breakfast Club before 16 Candles, and he was going to just do it as kind of an indie, low-budget Chicago movie. And then he met Molly Ringwald, and the legend goes that he wrote 16 Candles for her in a weekend, and then put the Breakfast Club on the back burner for a while. So I knew John a little bit, and so anyway, I auditioned for the casting people, and I auditioned for John, and then they finally gave it to me after they couldn't find anybody bigger.
Well, it works out for the best. I mean, when did it actually dawn on you that you had actually made the film that kind of defined a generation?
Well, I'm just really happy that people still enjoy it, and I think anything about that movie, I mean, obviously we had fun doing it, and I think we all did a good job, but I think any credit in terms of that goes to John Hughes, because he was the one that really had his finger on the pulse of youth in America, and he was sort of their staunch advocate. He believed in kids, and he didn't try to belittle their problems or their concerns or their worries. He gave them, he honored all that stuff. So, the success of that movie is all because of John Hughes.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a legend, so.
Yeah. I mean, from that film, you must be one of the most quoted actors of all time. I mean, if you had 10 cents every time someone said "swing, batter, 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 swing," you'd be able to buy Bill Gates, surely.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Loz, you got?
Yeah, basically, mate, like, you've done a lot of TV work. I was just wondering what show you really felt at home with. What one did you think was the, best one to work with?
I had so much fun on Spin City. Michael J. Fox sort of picked his playmates because we auditioned for Gary David Goldberg, the late Gary David Goldberg, and for Bill Lawrence, who had created the show. And then Michael had final casting approval. So I was living in Los Angeles, and I flew to New York to audition for Michael. And just, happily, luckily, that went my way. And I had been friends and had worked before with Michael Boatman on a show that only lasted 13 episodes, and we were dead last in the ratings every week. It was called Muscle, and it was the old WB network. But Boatman and I had been paired up on that, and then I was flying back to Los Angeles from, the audition with Michael, and I talked to my manager, and she said, well, honey, you got the part, and you know, I was thrilled, and she said, and I didn't want to tell you until now, but Michael Boatman has already been cast because I didn't want to jinx it for you, you know. So that was just, so I was already friends with Boatman, and then I met Barry Bostwick on that show, and we've become friends for life. I'm friends with all those guys, with Richard Kind and Sandy Chaplin. We've all stayed in contact, and I think it's because we all share a really twisted sense of humor. And I think that's all because of Fox, because Fox picked people that sort of shared his, you know, twisted view of the world, and we had an awful lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said Spin City, because I used to love it as a kid, and the chemistry that you guys have is just incredible. You know, it's such a well-crafted show. I mean, I love it.
Oh, thanks.
I don't think there was a Saturday morning in the UK where it wasn't on TV, so growing up in the 90s. So. But,
good.
You had a bit of a stint in the mid-90s in some action films, Speed and Twister. Obviously, with director Jan de Bont. Did he sort of ask you to come back for Twister after Speed?
Yeah, that was happy. I got the job in Speed, and that was another film that was another job that was just a pleasure from start to finish. They had the Department of Transportation had completed the 105 freeway in Los Angeles, but it was not yet open to the public. So then 20th Century Fox made some deal with the Department of Transportation, and we got to use the 105 freeway as our location, as our backlot, for, I think it was 4 or 6 weeks. It was quite a long time, but it was ours, you know. There was nobody else on it. And so that was exciting. And it was very innovative. They kept coming up with new ways to do the camera work on that show. They had, I think maybe it was at least half a dozen buses, different buses that we used, and one of them was called the Popemobile because it had this huge plexiglass unit attached to the front of the vehicle. So the driver actually sat on the roof, and you know, Sandy Bullock just had a dummy steering wheel, didn't do anything, and that way they had all those great close-ups of Keanu and Sandy and Hawthorne James, who was the bus driver who got shot and all that stuff. You know, they had all those great close-ups up front. They also rigged this thing. They invented a little dolly that ran on the handrail. They turned the handrail, you know, up above the seats, into a dolly track. They eliminated the top bracket and reinforced the bottom bracket, and they created a dolly. They, you know, fabricated a dolly, and they hung the camera with bungee cords off that dolly, and that way they could be up at the front of the bus and then go, you know, screaming around and go all the way to the back of the bus and twist that camera every which way and grab whatever they could of all of us on the bus. So it was really interesting to see all the innovation and all the creativity going on. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you audition for it, or was you called up for it?
No, that one I auditioned for. I mean, the truth is, the people that just get offered things tend to be stars, and pretty much everybody else has to audition. I get offered episodes of television shows, just like, would you like to come in and do this guest spot or whatever. But when it comes to being a series regular or playing any sizable part in a film, most people have to audition. So yeah, I auditioned for that, and the Twister one, I think, as I recall, Jan might have just called me up about that.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, he was very sweet. He just decided he wanted me to be part of that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was not as much fun. That one was not as much fun as Speed. It was hard. We were out in the boondocks. We were in Oklahoma and Iowa, in the middle of nowhere. For part of it in Iowa, we were actually on a pig farm for quite a while, and you can just imagine what that smells like in the summer. So it's not always so glamorous, you know.
You suppose it's just, how long did the shoot go on for? I assume a couple of months at least.
The Twister?
Yeah.
That one was very long. I think it was 4 months. We started in April, May, June, July. Yeah, it was 4 months, maybe 4 months and a little bit.
So it was 4 months of getting beaten up by fans and stuff like that, and fake rain.
Oh yeah, they actually had a jet engine. That was, I don't know, taken off some plane, but they had a jet engine mounted on a truck that, just created incredible wind, that incredible exhaust. And then they would throw pieces of styrofoam, made to look like rocks, up into the stream of air, and that would be blown, in our direction. Isn't that fun? They had a machine that took huge slabs of ice, like you would get from an ice house.
Right.
And the ice slid down a chute, and at the bottom of the chute was a V8 engine that was attached to a giant chopper blade. And then, so the ice slid down the chute, got chopped up, and then was shot through a funnel, through a chute up into the air, to simulate hail. But the thing was that it moved really, really rapidly. I mean, I think big hail hurts anyway. But I mean, there were pieces, they were really small ice cubes pelting down on us, and if you catch one of those on the top of your head, you kind of drop to your knees. I mean, it's not pleasant, I mean, they would hit us on the back, like the shoulder blades, point of our shoulders, that stuff really hurts. So that was not really a fun shoot, I mean, it made a lot of money, and I guess, everybody considered it a success, but there have been easier jobs in my life.
So I guess, the whole actual set and shoot gave you the kind of sense of dread, as if you were actually facing a tornado from the punishment you were going through.
Well, that part was good. There were other times when, we would be staring at a clear, blue, beautiful sky in Oklahoma in June, and Jan DeBont would be yelling at us, "It's the biggest tornado you've ever seen. You're going to die. You guys, you're not scared enough." And, because it was all CGI. It was all put in later. And, at the time you feel like an idiot because you feel like you're just mugging and making huge faces and, you just feel like an idiot. And then when you actually see the film, you're like, oh, I could have been bigger. I could have been much more scared. I could have been wetting my pants, and it would have been appropriate.
Yeah. So you didn't ask you back to do Speed 2 then, no?
They actually, Jan did, offer me a little part in that, just because he thought it would be funny to have that poor guy who was stuck on the bus all of a sudden be stuck on a boat, he thought that would be funny. But I had just been, was cast in Spin City.
Oh yeah.
And it conflicted. I had to go to New York to start work on Spin City, and the shoot dates conflicted. There was no way I could do it. So.
A good career choice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it worked out just fine, yeah.
Steve?
I just wanted to actually ask, were you a Star Trek fan before Star Trek Generations? Because you did that fan film of Gods and Men as well a few years ago.
I'm sorry, repeat that last bit.
Oh, sorry. Were you a Star Trek fan before you obviously were the captain of the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek Generations? As you did a fan film, Gods of Men, a few years back?
Yeah, oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough that I was a boy when the original series came out. I mean, I think I was 10 years old when the series debuted, and so I was crazy about it, for the couple of years it was on TV. And then I didn't think too much more about it, and I went off to college, and my first college roommate was an aeronautical engineer who was a self-described Trekkie, and I didn't know that that stuff existed. But even in the 70s, there was already a huge following, and Gene Roddenberry actually would travel around to universities and, give lectures and, obviously for a great deal of money. he would put on these performances or these shows, and all the sci-fi geeks, came out in droves. So I knew that stuff existed, but I didn't think too much about it. And when Next Generation came along, I watched some of it and I enjoyed it. And then I got a chance to audition for that part, and when the audition came in, I said, "Who do they want me to audition for?" And they said, "Harriman." Because I thought they were going to cast me as like some, alien with a broccoli head or something, And then, they said, "No, it's this captain." And, I feel good about myself, but I've never really sort of, pictured myself as a starship commander. That's not, I don't wake up in the morning and shave and look in the mirror and say, "Wow, this is a starship commander." But, as it turned out, he was a guy who was way over his head, and I made up sort of a backstory for myself that the way I must have landed that job was through political connections. Maybe I had an influential family who were trying to help me build a career. But it was interesting, because I got to meet Walter Koenig, who I've seen a number of times over the years at conventions and so forth, and got to meet Shatner, and he's exactly what you'd expect. And I got to meet James Doohan, and he was a peach of a guy. He was a wonderful fella. So it was, those guys had been my boyhood heroes for a while, and then years later I played this guy who had idolized these characters, in the Star Trek world, as his boyhood heroes. So that was a pretty easy fit.
Yeah, so it kind of like fits into how we're doing this interview right now.
That's fun.
Those?
So I'm just wondering what's happening now, what you're currently working on, where you're going.
Well, I'm actually I'm married to an actress named Mireille Enos, who's doing very, very well right now. And 4 years ago, we have a little girl who's almost 4. She's going to be 4 years old in a couple of months. And when my wife became pregnant with Vesper, that's when her career just took off like a rocket. It's like the baby and her career showed up at the same time. And so she was the lead on The Killing that played on AMC and now is on Netflix. And actually she just finished up the last 6 episodes. On I think August 1st they're going to start making the last 6 episodes available on Netflix. So she did that show. She did the pilot when she was 4 months pregnant, and then when Vesper was 7 weeks old, we drove to Canada and she started working on the show. And right after that, we went to England because Mireille was in World War C with Brad Pitt. And then she's just been really working really hard, quite a lot for the past 4 years. So I've mostly been Mr. Mom. I do episodes of this, that, and the other thing, There's a show on ABC called The Whispers.
Okay.
That is, I think it's going to be a mid-season replacement. And so I have a recurring part on that, and I'm supposed to go up to Vancouver and do a couple episodes of that in the next couple months. But I do voiceovers for Volkswagen, and I just I'm flying under the radar right now.
Well, there's a film coming out. I mean, I've been seeing the poster online for ages, but obviously it's still not been released, called Booted.
Yeah, I did that quite a while ago.
Yeah.
I think I did that. I think it'll be 5 years ago this coming fall, because I did it before. Mireille got pregnant with Vesper, and so I think it'll be like 5 years ago this coming October or something that I did that, and it was a very funny script, a very funny idea, and some young guys in Philadelphia had put this together, and they found the money to put this production together. And the funny part, you know, and they paid me a little bit, so I went to Philadelphia and I did it. And then I think what happened was there's been a conflict between the director and the producers as to some editing, perhaps, like some direction they wanted the film to go, and maybe somebody didn't agree, and so it's been sort of tied up legally for quite a while. So I don't know. They say it's going to be released soon, but I don't know. We'll see.
I hope so, because it does look pretty funny. So
yeah, it was a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, Loz, you got anything else you want to add? Or?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know actually, who is your favourite actor?
Oh man, you know what, the list is endless. I mean, it changes. It changes. I mean, it doesn't really change. It just gets added to. You know, maybe on a weekly basis, because I'll see somebody do something, and I'll just think, well, there's nobody else that could have done that better. You know, I've always been a big fan of Gary Oldman. We're about the same age, and then, you know, when I saw that guy, first thing I ever saw him do, I think, was Prick Up Your Ears. And I thought, who the hell is this? Because, man, is he good, you know? Always been a big fan of him. I'm very impressed with Matthew McConaughey lately.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean, this just makes, you know, to be honest, I never thought that much of him. I thought, oh, he's a good-looking guy, and, you know, he's really affable, and everybody seems to like him. He's a very likable guy. But I never thought of him as a great actor. And then, holy smokes, he did that Dallas Buyers Club, and now just True Detective.
Yeah.
And that guy, I just think it just goes to show you should never underestimate anyone, you know, because, you know, that guy's as good as anybody out there. Terrific work. Helen Mirren, very crazy about her. Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
That guy's
definitely
amazing. I mean, just it's endless. It's endless. If you probably just started, you know, rattling off some names, I would probably say, oh yeah, I love them.
Yeah, it's just really interesting because obviously you can watch a film and sort of, you know, analyze someone's performance in a way that obviously maybe we can't, because obviously that's what you do for a profession.
Well, I think what happens is there's this thing that as an audience member that we all hopefully experience, and it's called the suspension of disbelief. And that, you know, at some point in the story, hopefully from the very beginning, you're swept away into this world and you believe that these people are who they say they are and who they're pretending to be. And so something that happens, I think, to actors is the bar is continually raised for you to experience the suspension of disbelief. So I think people have to be, everything about a show, the performances, the direction, everything has to be really top notch for a professional, you know, in the business to suspend their disbelief and be swept away. So I think that's probably the only difference. I think maybe the average moviegoer is much more sort of agreeable. Now, it could be that we're just cynical, us people in the business, you know, that we're just, you know, we're just a little resistant, perhaps, for whatever reason. So it just usually takes an outstanding effort on everybody's part to basically sweep me away and take me along for the ride.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Excellent.
All right. I mean, if no one else has got anything, obviously I want to thank you for coming on the show. You know, you are a legend. You know, you've been in so many great films and TV shows. You know, the list is just endless. You know, and to this day, the impression, the voice you do on the phone in Ferris Bueller's Day Off just cracks me up endlessly to this day. So I mean, the people
I don't know if you know this, but that voice actually was me imitating. It's actually me imitating Matthew Broderick doing an imitation of the man who directed us in Biloxi Blues, whose name is Gene Sachs. And Gene is still alive, and I think he's 93 or something. He's still around. And I hope he's well. But we would get him so mad during Biloxi Blues because we were constantly screwing around. And this one time he got so pissed off at us, I thought he was going to have a heart attack, because, he was 60-something then, and he got so red in the face, and he got so mad at us. And but Matthew used to do this imitation of him. And, you constantly imitate him. He'd worked with him before. And he'd come up to us backstage and pretend to be Gene and, chew us out. And so Hughes just said, do some voice, pick a voice for Mr. Peterson. So I didn't tell Matthew what I was going to do, and I didn't do it, until the first rehearsal for that scene. And I did it pretty much just to get just to make Broderick laugh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I mean, so Alan, I want to thank you for coming on the show. As I said,
Pleasure.
We're massive fans, and we will continue to be. And we look forward to your work and that you're going to be doing in the future. And just thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, you guys.
So that was the Alan Ruck interview. Great guy, very down to earth. What did you guys think?
Oh, it's so great to have him on the show. He was absolutely brilliant.
It's funny when you talk to someone, or you see someone in movies, and then when you actually hear them talking in real life, it's strange. Very strange.
Especially when they're talking to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, it was great. He was a great guy. As I said, we'd like to see him in a lot more stuff soon. So, moving on. Up next, we have our little bit of... actually, we'll do the soundtrack of the week first. We'll go around the table. Steve?
Okay, soundtrack of the week. I was going to suggest James Horner's main theme from Kroll, 1983, but because obviously Alan Ruck came on the show, well, I'm going to have to say it's Oh Yeah by Yellow from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah. And also from Secret of My Success as well, starring Michael J. Fox, which he obviously did, he co-starred with in Spin City.
Mm. Very good. So listen to that, everyone. Lods?
Mine is off the Into the Wilds movie, off the soundtrack of that. If you haven't seen the movie Into the Wild, it's definitely worth a watch. The whole soundtrack is done by Eddie Vedder.
Wow.
Do you know who Eddie Vedder is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you do? He's the singer from Pearl Jam. Just in case you didn't, he's the singer of Pearl Jam. Anyway, he done pretty much the whole thing, but there's one track on there called Guaranteed, it's called. And it won an award for the best original song. And it was just a really solid soundtrack in general, but that song stands out as really good. So yeah, Eddie Vedder, Guaranteed, from Into the Wild.
Awesome. My one is it's the main title thing from, although it's an absolute guff movie. Well, it's not that bad actually. I quite like it, but a lot of people say it's a guff movie. Is the film Knowing with Nicolas Cage?
Oh God!
So here we go. But you got to listen to it. It's the main title thing by Marco Beltrami.
Right.
He done. See, I like his work. I always listen to all his work because I'm a huge fan, obviously, of the Scream films, but of the Scream soundtrack, or the score, should I say, is absolutely awesome. And he's done a lot of stuff recently. He's sort of blown up. He's been doing, like World War Z, the Wolverine, the new Wolverine movie, things like that. But it's actually a really eerie track because. I don't know if you remember it, the beginning of Knowing, it sort of starts from out in space and it just sort of pans forward, like at night time with all the street lights. It's probably not a memorable movie for you, but
Yeah, I was going to say, are you accusing us of actually watching that film?
no, but it's a good track. It's a really good, eerie, creepy track. You should definitely give it a listen.
I'm quite disappointed. I actually thought you were going to talk about Frozen for a second there.
No, you'll see that on the YouTube channel this week.
I was going to say, yeah, did you get the interview with your daughter about Frozen?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got the whole thing done. I just need to edit the whole episode. But yeah, I was going to say the Tron soundtrack, Tron Legacy, Daft Punk, but there's too many tracks on there to sort of point out. Any listening to it?
Not really. The
No, I
film's
haven't.
pretty
No.
shit, to be honest.
Yeah, the film's a bit shite, but soundtrack's really good. But anyway, yeah, so last but by no means least was a little bit of homework. I was going to rewatch the Transformers trilogy because I hadn't seen 2 and 3 since they'd come out pretty much, and Loz was going to watch Lord of the Rings. So do you want to go first, Loz?
Sure. So I started watching the first one, and then I watched the second one, and now I'm on to the third one.
Right.
They're very long movies, and I've been watching the theatrical release. So the extended edition would be an extra 45 minutes of filler, I guess.
No, that's where you're missing out. That is where you're missing out. You have to watch the extended versions to get the best from Lord of the Rings.
The best meaning wasting more of your life.
Right, you say that. There's so much filler in the first one as it is. One of my bits that got me the most, and I just thought that was pointless. When Gandalf walks to see Sauron, right? He walks in, and they have that little altercation, and he locks the doors. Yeah? Do you know what bit I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah? So he walks in, he locks doors behind him, and you go, oh, okay, he's locked in that room. No, he has to run to another set of doors that he locks. And you go, okay, so he's locked 2 doors. No, then he runs to another set, he locks that, and then another set. So he locks 4 set of doors. Why couldn't he just go, boom, all the doors closed, good. Instead of wasting 5 minutes of my life shutting doors.
Because he's a dick. He's toying with his, victim. He's mugging him
could
off.
have just gone, bang, close doors. Because it's like a piss take. You just imagine him doing it, and then a window shuts, and then there's a guy on the toilet, and the toilet flushes, and then that shuts, and it just really...
Gandalf gets to the bathroom and tries to escape down the toilet. Like in train spotting.
You shall not pass.
As I've got constipation.
Have you seen that video on YouTube of the old man in a Gandalf costume on the train tracks?
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant.
You shall not pass.
The other thing I've got is saying on the quotes, Flight of the Concorde really ruined that movie for me. Because they do a song about Lord of the Rings, and they rip off all the quotes. So actually seeing them in context in the film just makes me laugh. Like when they go, you have my sword and my bow and my axe. That cracked me up. Because in the video they make, then when there's sword fighting, you just see one of them clapping scissors together to make the noise of swords clashing. And every time there was a sword fight, I just imagined them doing that to make the sound effect. So that definitely ruined it for me. The other thing that gets me is Frodo just annoys the piss out of me. He's just the most whingy, annoying person. Like, if a wizard who's clearly quite powerful goes to you, do not put this ring on. Don't put it on. Whatever you do, just leave it. He puts it on 4 times in the first movie.
Because he said, do not put it on. It's like, don't touch that button. Well, this button. Yeah, that button. Don't step on the grass. What, this grass?
And if Frodo's just he's like a kid with ADHD. Like he's sitting there, there's all this fighting going on, and he just goes, oh, that's shiny, and just walks off in a fucking random direction, and then gets stabbed, or gets fucking shot at, or just stay where you are. Stop being a cock. You've got a whole army of people protecting you. Stop trying to be the fucking hero and just go with the group. Stop being a prick.
Did you hear that, Frodo?
Yeah, stop it. The other one that gets me, and this is my last sort of thing, is I feel really sorry for Sean Bean. Because lately, all the things I've seen him in, he dies very, very early.
What do you mean lately?
Well, he died in Game of Thrones pretty early, as in the 3rd episode.
Spoiler alert.
That's his entire career. It's not like a recent conscious decision he's had of just dying. Sean Bean dies. That's what he does. That's all he does.
It's like that film, John dies at the end. All his films should be called Sean Bean dies at the beginning. For England, James.
Yeah, like you can just imagine him going in for an interview and they go, we've got the perfect part for you. You're going to play a bear of the ring, so you're going to, take Frodo around and really try and help him out and make sure he gets that ring to him. Oh, you're going to die. But don't worry about that. You're going to...
I think he would have guessed it for the fact the book has been out for like 50 years before the fucking film was made. It's not like he went into the park going, oh, what do you mean I'd die?
The thing that got me is, like, I was watching it with my wife, and she knows, she's read the book and stuff. And I felt like a couple of times she knew more about what was going on because she's read the book. And I don't think they explain very well what's going on in the movie in some parts.
That's why you need the extended edition.
Well, look, I enjoyed the movies, don't get me wrong. I'm up to the third one because I want to see what happens. I still think Sam and Frodo are just going to turn out to be homo.
Well, it's not far from the truth, to be honest.
Oh, good. Aragorn has got just the most well-cut jaw I think I've ever seen in any man. His dimple, you just get lost in his dimple. Like you try and watch him and you just stuck.
You sure you're not going to turn out homo at the end of it as well?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, the funny thing is, right, this is completely off topic. Every time I see someone, I don't know whether people do this, this is going to make me sound real weird.
God.
But when you see them, they've got that well-cut jaw. Do you ever imagine what their penis looks like and go, maybe their penis has got a really well-cut jaw as well, and a dimple on it?
A really sort of angular, sort of cleft ball sack.
Yeah. That might just be me, but
I think
yeah,
it is.
so that's...
I'm going to say that was you. We can poll people out there. Anyone listening who would like to sort of like talk to us on Twitter, is that a thing?
If you have a well-cut jaw, send a picture of your penis to us. At Lawrence Head 1.
A couple of the lines made me laugh, like, toss me. That was a good one. That made me laugh.
Hey,
and what do you smell? What do you smell? Man flesh. And then when I looked on the IMD, he's actually credited as man flesh.
That's fucking brilliant.
That's it. So I'm liking the movies. I think because of all the hype and the rip-offs that I've seen, it's sort of ruined the wow factor that I would have got if I watched it in the cinema. But I'm liking it. So we'll see what happens at the end. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched them since the cinema because they were pretty fucking boring then. But moving on, I was going to rewatch the Transformers trilogy. I actually watched them in reverse order for some reason.
Because it makes no fucking difference. They're the same fucking films.
Right, Transformers 1 is a good film. It's an enjoyable film, It was, I'm not going to slate it because, it was just a pretty good film. But I really hated Revenge of the Fallen when it came out. And Dark of the Moon was shit, but I didn't think it was as shit as Revenge of the Fallen. But I've actually sort of switched opinions on them now. Dark of the Moon is fucking... there's no words.
It's just noise. It's noise.
It is just such an awful film. Everything about it's awful. Shia LaBeouf, is gone off the rails now, but he was sort of likeable around the time of, Transformers 1. Disturbia was an awesome film. He'd just done iRobot and Constantine, and he was likeable. But to the point of, in The Dark of the Moon, I just wanted to headbutt him. Who's the girl? She's the actor, isn't she? Like Rosie something or another, who played his girlfriend in the third film. She just cannot act for shit. And she's just, she's annoying. Is it Patrick Dempsey?
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey.
Who's in Grey's Anatomy, who's actually a really good actor. Was just, I don't know what was wrong with him. He was almost as bad as Kiefer Sutherland in, I forgot. I've just had a complete mind blank now. What's the volcano film I was talking about? Pompeii.
Pompeii.
He was almost as bad as Kiefer Sutherland was in Bombay. He was just a whiny little turd, you know, like, wow, Decepticons, they come in, and all that. It was just a twat. It was just an awful, awful film. And you're right, it was just a mess. There's one shot where Optimus Prime's just running down the street, just turning, like, it's like a dolly shot, you know, where it's just going along and he's just slicing the fuck out of all these Decepticons, and there's cars flying about, and I'm just like, how did they film this? Is it all CGI, or did fucking Michael Bay just dolly shot a whole empty street and just add everything into it after? You know, because that's what them films must be like. It must be just shooting in front of a green screen, or just shooting empty streets and adding everything in it later. And it's just a crap film. And one thing that also annoys me about them is they end just so quickly, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, he fucking punches Megatron's head off, and he's like, we are here to protect the Earth. We shall continue our mission. And then it's credits, you know?
It's Michael Bay's cum shot.
Yeah, but even in, like, Armageddon, he has, like, the little funeral for Bruce Willis and that, you know? But it's Transformers films, they just cut them off as soon as, like, the last pin has dropped. Yeah, Dark of the Moon was awful. Revenge of the Fallen wasn't as bad as I remember. Still a shit film. But it was a bit more enjoyable than I remember, you know. I think it was, what's his name? I can't pronounce his.
Turturro.
John Turturro, yeah. He was quite unlikable in the rest of them, especially number 3, but he sort of made it not in number 2.
I think the trouble with Dark of the Moon and Revenge of the Fallen is an absolute steaming pile of fucking gash.
Yeah.
But it has its excuse. They were fucking writing on set because of the writer's strike, and that's why Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon has no excuse, because at least Revenge of the Fallen had the writer's strike. Dark of the Moon didn't have that. It just basically goes to show that no matter what you could write on the set, you could fucking write it fucking 5 years in advance, it's still going to be shit.
And the guy who wrote it, Aaron Kruger, is responsible for things like Scream 3 and that, and Reindeer Games, and you just sit there and you think, he's not a very good writer. And he fucking wrote Age of Extinction as well.
Yeah, well, like I say, so basically, the writer of the worst in the...
See, he didn't write the first film.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He wrote the 2 and 3, and they were shit. He didn't write Scream 1 and 2. He wrote Scream 3, and Scream 3 was fucking awful. And
it's hands down, Scream 3 is the worst of the Scream franchise, and Reindeer Games is one of the worst films...
Of any franchise.
Of any ever made, yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, the first Transformers film was pretty decent. I mean, you know, it was good. You can understand at least. You can give it the credit for.
Well, that's one of the subjects I want to bring up for next week. But
okay, I was say that you can give it credit for the complexity of what Bay had to deal with when bringing a franchise from the 80s kind of back to life. He had to deal with fans. We had to deal with 80s fans. He had to deal with modern fans of Beast Wars and Armada. He had to deal with a massive budget. He had to make it family friendly. He had to sort of like listen to Hasbro, Paramount. It was not an easy project, but by now there's been I shouldn't say he hasn't learned. What am I saying? Of course he's learned. He's learned. Make it the film like this, and we still make $1 billion at the box office.
Exactly. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's all I have to say. The first one's still a good film. 2 and 3 is still shit, but 3 is a lot worse than 2. I've changed my mind on them. And yeah. So what I want to bring to the table next week is, or the next episode is, I was going to say films that had the sequels which had the same crew and the same cast, but were just absolute wank. You know, like how Transformers 2 was to Transformers 1, you know, like they almost hit a brick wall with them. But I'm going to change that now to 2006 to 2008. Will we ever see a period of that like again, where we were treated to childhood revival, you know, because in that time we had, you know, we had a new Rocky film, we had a new Die Hard film, we had a Transformers film, which is obviously the toys of our childhood. You know, we had a new Indiana Jones film. Did I say Terminator film already?
No, but the thing is,
that was like a period where it was just like, you know, we had like a childhood revival.
yeah, well, no, I can answer this now. We won't, because the next revival won't be our childhood. It will be
all the actors are fucking be dead within the next 10 years anyway.
It won't be a revival of properties from our childhood. It will be a revival of things from the late 90s and early 2000s. We'll see that again. We'll end up with revivals of, I don't know, fuck knows, I don't even know.
You say that. You say that, but the Flash movie's coming out, which, yeah, it's a different cast and that, but what about Star Wars? They're reviving that one?
Yeah, no, those are major properties. Star Wars is a massive franchise, like that transcends all generations.
But we already had the prequels before that period, which had let us down.
What about Ghostbusters?
Yeah, we had the video game, didn't we? What was that, like 2008? That was about as close as we were going to get.
Weren't they all going to get together with the old crew and have Bill Murray again and all that?
Yeah, he was wasting time when Bill Murray, like, saying about scripts and that, and now fucking Harold Ramis gone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the next time there is a massive revival, we won't recognise it because we weren't kids to know that these things are being revived.
Yeah, the new revival will be like, dude, where's my car or something. But yeah, anyone else got anything before we wrap up?
I'm good, mate.
I'm good.
Okay, so thanks for listening, everyone. Big thanks to Alan Ruck for coming on the show again, and you can catch us on Twitter at Box Office Beyond and on YouTube at just search Beyond the Box Office. My Twitter is at BamSam_MD. Loz?
At Lawrence Head 1.
And Steve, you're just on the Beyond the Box Office one, aren't you?
Yeah, and also check us out on rewindthatcast.blogspot.com, where I update daily. Currently doing top 10 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episodes from the original 1987 series.
We'll probably change that to beyondtheboxoffice.com at some point. But yeah, so cheers, guys. It was a good show, and hopefully we'll have another. We've got guests lined up for future shows. It's just scheduling them. But yeah, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks.